right, gang, we got an interesting podcast here. This one came from left field, to be honest with you. This is going to be a fun one. And she messaged me making sure I pronounce her last name right because it's such a difficult name, Meg. Let's welcome Meg Barbour.
Thank you,
Meg,
Dr. Steve.
have people been pronouncing your name wrong your whole life?
Barbour, Barbour,
Barbour. That was cute. I thought that was awesome. So, just as a quick intro for people, Meg has her own movement developing here, and we were talking in the office. How did we meet, Meg? I mean, how long have you been coming into the office?
I've been coming into the office for 3 months.
Yeah.
I did a Google search on chiropractors in my area in Farmington, and I looked through every single site of all the chiropractors in the area. When I read your bio, I knew you were the right person for me. I just felt an instant connection. All of the vibes were just right there. And it was a definite yes. I didn't contact anybody else. And I came right in, and your office was super friendly and amazing. And yeah, it was so phenomenal. Like my first
awesome.
session with you was just like outstanding. And I went from my eyes, the way that my eyes were seeing was a little bit blurry, till after like one adjustment and my eyes were crystal clear and I could see like my vision improved amazing in just one session.
That's awesome. It's amazing the power of the neurology when you start tapping it in. And we always talk about getting a clear atlas and what that means to people. And you're nailing it spot on with your description of it. That's fantastic. Thank God for Google, man. Whoever thought Google would be the wave of the future where people would go find your business on Google? That's crazy. So you gave me your website, which is firstlovelovefirst.com. And first is the one ST love 1st.com, which people could go ahead and get a background of what you're doing. And it's very interesting because step one, it says, love yourself first, then come from love in all you do. Together we can spread love across the globe. That's awesome. Where does this come from?
Thank you so much. It's part of my mission, and it started with my personal development and wanting to be a better person on all levels in every area of my life. And when I realized the core foundation is the loving myself first. I used to always try to win the love through academics, being a straight A student. With my running career, I trained for the Olympic trials. I always thought I could win the love. And it wasn't until I went inside of myself and began to love myself that my life started to flow. And that flow is where I feel fully alive. And it's not coming from the brain or trying to get approval. It's coming from the heart, like the mind, body, spirit. And this mission, I just want people to go within and find the love inside of themselves, because when they do that, everything flows from love. Like everything you do, every single action, every interaction with people, and this world would be so much more loving if we took that one step, just loving ourselves. It's so simple, but yet it's profound.
Wow, that's beautiful. So what was your turning point? You were a competitive athlete, obviously in your craft, one of the best in the country in order to, go to the Olympic trials. You were, an overachiever. What was the turning point? And I don't mean overachiever because you were achieving exactly what you were supposed to achieve. But what was your turning point that you realized like something's just not right here?
My turning point was when I didn't make the Olympic trials. I got injured. I was running with a coach, Arthur Lydiard in New Zealand, who is like the godfather of running. And when I got injured, I came back, I ran the Chicago Marathon, and I missed making the Olympic trials by 2.5 seconds per mile. And I was devastated. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't know what I would do. I was completely lost and soul searching. And in soul searching, I picked up a camera and I started taking pictures. And it totally changed my focus. I was looking at beauty. I was doing these macro shots of flowers, and I was taking bird's eye view shots with wide angle lenses. And photography taught me so much about living. And it was through coming into a new hobby and seeing new perspectives and learning like whatever we focus on equals the results of our life. It just opened up a new path for me. And that's when I began my spiritual path too, because I was driven to achieve, but I wasn't in the process making myself happy. I was thinking in a linear path, thinking that life is a straight up trajectory, that whatever you think life is supposed to be coming from your mind, that didn't work for me. I realized that life is like a whole bunch of squiggles and then going up. It's not just one straight line. One straight line from the mind is like, it's not living, it's a living death. And when I learned to come from my heart and have my mind, body, spirit aligned, I came alive. And it was just the most incredible feeling and experience. And I lived different because of that.
So literally looking through the lens of a camera gave you a different perspective on life.
Yes. Yeah. Just a simple thing. And that's why I like when people have something that they wanted to do and they haven't done it, I really encourage them to do it, because you never know what it's going to lead to. It like totally, I went from having a breakdown to a breakthrough. I didn't expect that. I didn't know the camera was going to open up a whole new career for me. And I started doing creative work. I worked on projects with Disney, Food Network, Cosmos, Sundance. And it was through working at Viva Design that, because of my photography, I got into video and telling stories visually. It opened up a whole career. So the not making the Olympic trials, I got a career in the spiritual path at it. So out of that, it was just, I was lucky.
You were predestined, is what you were. Out of all the photographs you've taken, do you have one photograph that kind of stands out that you would say is your favorite or your pivotal moment, picture, something you embrace the most?
Street art. There's not one in particular. There are two that I absolutely love. And they were people that I met that I thought they were interesting characters. And I went up and I talked with them. I learned more about them. I asked if I could take their photos. And that was at the very beginning of me taking pictures. So that's my absolute favorite. I love the beauty of the flowers and what they represented, the beauty in life and being present in the moment. And definitely the street artists, that's what I related to the most. They were just real. They were raw. They were not pretending. It wasn't about showing off. It was just people who were following their passions.
Now, how did you get into running? When did that all start for you? And how did you get so good at it? Was it just kind of a natural gift?
I got into running in 7th grade. And the only reason I did it, my girlfriend, my best friend at the time, Margot, she wanted to do cross country, long distance running, because her sister did it and her sister got a trophy. And so I'm like, oh yeah, let's get trophies. And so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I didn't know I was any good. Like my first race, I came in like 2nd or 3rd place and I was far behind the leader. And then my second race, I went out pretty fast and I was singing Eye of the Tiger in my mind and I felt like Rocky and I was ahead and I'm like, oh my goodness, I may never be in first place again. I'm going to like stay up here. And I kept on building a lead and I won that race. And my mom was there. She was standing at the finish line. And I just remember like the tears coming down her eyes. She was so happy. And it was so unexpected. Like I didn't know I had that talent. And I won every single race in junior high school after the first race. I won most of my high school races. College was a different story. I was plagued with some injuries. I was the captain of our cross country team for my junior and senior year. We won like the Ivy League championship for cross country. And I wanted to, after college, run in the Olympics. It was my goal from when I was really, really young. I liked Mary Decker Slaney, and I was just always watching the best athletes and always inspired by them and always wanting to be like them. And, I took it as far as I could. And the best thing that ever came out of the experience of going for my goal, I got to travel around the world. I raced in Europe and New Zealand, all over the United States. And the people that I met along my journey, they just made it so amazing. Like, that was my favorite part, like experiencing new cultures and really getting to know people and staying in touch with them, having them be like part of my tribe and part of my family, that they're in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. What college did you go to? What Ivy League?
I went to UPenn in Philly.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 92. I'm old.
So
52.
you were at UPenn with my brother.
Oh, nice. What year?
So he graduated. Actually, wait a minute. Would you have been there with him? He graduated high school in 84. 84.
84. So he was 4 years ahead of me, but my
He was
brother
ahead
was,
of you.
yeah.
Yeah. And
My oldest brother was that year.
He played football and baseball.
Nice. Very talented like you.
Yeah. He was, that's funny. UPenn. And my dad went to Dartmouth. My dad's in the Dartmouth Hall of Fame for sports.
Wow. That is fantastic school.
Baseball and basketball. And I was the underachiever. I went to Iona College. I wasn't smart enough for Ivy League.
Oh, you are so brilliant. You're so wise. It's amazing. It doesn't matter where you go to school. You're a super achiever.
You're awesome. So then it says step 2 on your site here is, on social media, share something you've wanted to do that you're going to do now. So you actually give an action step, which I could actually understand more, learning more about you being such an achiever and goal-oriented. You go from this little girl just going out to run to support her friend to, basically an Olympic athlete traveling the world. So you're calling people out to do what?
To try something new, to really do what they've wanted to do. Like, if somebody wants to play guitar, like, do it. Take the lesson, get the guitar, take some action. And by putting it onto social media, you automatically get a community of support with your friends, with your family, and people hold you accountable. So it's no longer like, oh, I wish to do this. It's like, I'm stepping up, I'm doing this, and I'm getting support along the way.
Yeah. It's funny. I just talked to a young doctor who, he's trying to put together his goals. And I said, well, one thing to talk about it, but you got to put it in writing. And then once you put it in writing, you got to create a tribe and accountability group and then speak it into existence with them. Now they know you want to do this and they got to hold you accountable. And that's exactly what you're doing, is you're telling them, put it in writing. Your wall's going to be social media. And now your friends see it. They say, how's that going? Have you done it? Where are we at with it? Have you played guitar? That's brilliant.
I love it.
That's brilliant. And then step 3 is, remember, love is your birthright. That is huge. It is within you. Connect with it and let your love shine bright. That's like gorgeous.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. And what I've learned is, when we go inside and we find the love, not only that, but if we close our eyes and go inside, we can connect with the entire universe. Like, everything is inside of us. A lot of people look to the outside to find whatever they want that they think is going to make them happy. And we have it inside of us. We have love, we have peace, we have safety. Like, all of the riches and wealth are inside of ourselves. And I'm really excited to be able to share a message that resonates, that it helps people in their life, like, refocus on what's really important.
Yeah. And don't you think, especially now at this time and what the world's going through, that love should be the resonating message?
Yes. With all of the war and the fighting and the struggles and the not sharing, not cooperating, and coming together in a unified way. It definitely, love is like, excuse me, it's the universal language. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that need help. And there are people who are stuck in their egos that are fighting in war. And inside of ourselves, we all have all of the things that we see out in the world. And when we heal those things inside of ourselves, when everybody does that, the world will be very loving.
Yeah. And that's, the chiropractic message for people is, we rely on too many outside in resources to try to find health. And everything is inside of you. It's God put everything inside of you, and you don't have to be a born again Christian or a devout Jewish believer or anything. It's not about religion, but it's really just understanding there's a higher power that's moving through you, that all the answers has come from within, and the greatest energy is love. And that's exactly what you're perpetuating.
Yeah. And it helps because I have my life force from the work that I'm doing with you. Like, all of a sudden, I went from very stagnant energy and low energy in the day to my energy flowing like very freely, and my life started flowing. There was a direct correlation between your work and my life getting into flow.
I love that word flow, because a lot of times people will talk about they're trying to find balance. And what I've, found myself is balance. It's you're constantly fighting to try to tip the scales more one way than the other, as far as then just trying to go with the flow of things, because life's going to happen and there's going to be tough days and things are going to be stressful. And if you just kind of think of it as riding a wave, and you just kind of ride the wave and the wave comes down and you just chill out.
I
Just
love
chill.
that.
I love your logo. One of the logos on your site is and I'm seeing, I don't know if this is what you intended, the infinity symbol.
Yes.
And now hearing you talk about flow with a heart in either side of it.
Yeah, you got it. It's right on. I'm so happy you spotted it. It's exactly the intention of it.
What's amazing to me is being able to connect like this, because, you walk into a doctor's office, the chiropractor's office, and then you've got your whole story. And then we start adjusting you, and you don't always get to know the whole person. But then you get, like, you and I had that one, there was some kind of, because you always come in like fired up and bright and expect a miracle, and you're always dropping love bombs. And then you just said to me something about you want to do, or you are doing, a TED Talk. What is that all about? Like, I've seen TED Talks, but I didn't realize do you just sign up for a TED Talk? What does that work? How's that work?
Yes. So for TEDx, those are on our local communities. And
Yep.
you put together a proposal of what you want to talk on, a little bit about yourself and your background, and the community event hosts, they go through and then they elect who they're going to invite to be able to speak. And so I've never done one. This is my first one. And I learned that the title of your talk is very important to get somebody hooked to want to have you come in and present. And so my title is "The Way That We Think About Living is Dead Wrong."
Huh. The way that we think about living is dead. Now, how'd you come to that title?
I played around with a lot of different titles, and I attended a lot of webinars on TED Talks because TED has been my dream. It's kind of my Olympics of going out and presenting and having a message. And on one of the webinars, they were talking about how to create and craft your title. And the guy was spitfiring or spitballing, and he just like was saying a bunch of things. And then I just had a light bulb go off, and I'm like, this is my title. And I felt really, really, really passionate about it.
The way that we think about living is dead wrong. Okay. So my question to you is, so to say that the way that we think about living is implying that we know how people think about living. So how do we feel most people think about living?
I think most people in life in general look at, for example, our birth date as being the most important, and like on a tombstone, the day that you die. And so you have these two dates that in people's minds are the biggest things that happen in a person's life. And what I think is the most critical is that dash between the two dates. That dash is about living. That dash is your life. That's how you choose to be in every moment and in that flow. And also people that come just from their minds, that is not fully living. It's not until we come into our hearts and our minds that there's the up and down in life. Like you said, it's not just one thing. Like there's challenging days. There's definitely days that we have down days. We have breakdowns and we do have breakthroughs. And I think a lot of people early in life are taught, set a goal, have a dream, go from point A to point Z and make it happen. And I think there's a lot more to it. It's not just goal setting in a straight line. I don't know anybody in life who's successful that hasn't had major ups and major downs, and the downs often teach more than the ups.
That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. So, as you're talking, one of the biggest things I'm thinking about is, let's imagine right now a struggling mom, single mom of 2 or 3 children is listening to this. And she's like, well, how do I get out of my mind? What does that mean to get from my mind to my heart? How do I do that? What do you suggest?
I suggest breathing, having your energy come down all the way, like all the way down your body to your feet, and feeling more grounded in your body. And in your heart, it's a matter of slowing down time and breathing and feeling.
Right.
And in the breathing and the feeling and the being present, it's a completely different experience. Your blood pressure can drop, your way of thinking can drop, can slow down, and your thoughts don't have to be racing and frantic. They're not for everybody. Some people are in their mind and that's just where they live, and that's fine. It's what I'm talking about is not for everybody. But for a mom, single mom who is wanting to come from their heart, definitely feeling the love of another person and sending that love to that person. In the giving of love, we receive love. It's not about taking and being selfish. It's about giving. And every time that we give, we receive.
One of my biggest mentors, Dr. Sid Williams, always taught us what's called the lasting purpose lifestyle, which is giving, loving, serving out of your own abundance without attachment to the results. So he would always say, if you're going through a tough time, lose yourself in service. Go serve other people. So, like when my mother died, I got sad, but I came to the office and I served. I didn't take time off. I didn't shut it down. I cried over patients. I felt it. I didn't try to hide it. But then the other biggest thing is he taught us is the 49 breaths. And if you go on my YouTube channel or even on the podcast, we did the 49 breaths. People were asking me, and it was kind of funny to turn the camera on and do this in front of people, but it's something I do twice a day, and it's 49 breaths. So it's all the great ones that I've ever spoke to talk about exactly, and you're a great one. You were a destined Olympic athlete, which means you were the best of the best in your field. So you all have these techniques you go to, and breathing is one of the top things to get centered. So when you said it's not for everybody, but it is for everybody. I mean, anybody could take 5 minutes, go to a quiet room and breathe. So if they don't know how to do it, I did it. It's on the YouTube channel. We've done a podcast. You just type in 49 breaths, and we share this that I learned from Dr. Sid. But it's amazing what stopping and just breathing can do to help you reconnect to yourself, AKA your spirit, AKA your heart. space. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what's
Yeah.
the
That
ultimate
breathing.
outcome? The ultimate outcome of your TED Talk is what?
The ultimate outcome of my TED Talk is that people start loving themselves first and that they do everything from love. If I got one person to resonate with that message and to give that mission life, we're all lights. We all connect. We're all one. And by one person changing, that lifts my heart and it wants me to give more, wants me to get the message out more. And that's simple in what I am wanting to do. And I just want to give.
You know, I think the beauty of it is you've obviously, you've been through a lot of ups and downs in your life, as most successful people have. And then you found a way to help yourself heal by helping others heal, which is why you're just saying people just need to learn to love more, but it starts with loving yourself. That's a beautiful message. I mean, I had a hard time with love at one point in my life, and I've talked about this on podcasts, where one day in a meditation, it came to me, what is love? Life's only vital expression. LOVE, life's only vital expression. It's really the only thing vital to keep us connected and spiritually balanced and in the flow. Because when you come from a place of love, which is the greatest energy, everything else follows.
Yeah, you're blowing my mind. That is so brilliant what you said.
I agree. I agree. When is your TED Talk? Like when does that happen? When can people hear it? Is it live?
It's happening on April 9th at Connecticut College. And I'm not certain how long before the videos go online. And I'll definitely have it on my website, lovefirst.com with the number 1. And yeah, as soon as I know it's live, I'm going to let you know. And
Oh yeah.
if people are interested in the Connecticut College TEDx, you could just Google that. It's
Is
April
that now?
9th.
Is that Central Connecticut State University, CCSU? Or?
No, it's not. It's in New London, and
Okay.
it'll be my first time going there. It's about an hour drive for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll get there super early with all my nerves.
I mean, I really feel like, the Great Spirit's using you to reach people on a higher level. And you have this background of, brilliance, educated brilliance, physical and athletic brilliance. But you're taking all that great energy and bringing it back to a heart space of that anybody can reconnect to. Like me, I can never train and become an Olympic athlete running. I'm just not designed for that. But I can reconnect and be spiritually connected to my greatest potential, that any one of us can do this. And I feel like you're a person who's taken on this role and path, which is why this podcast has happened, which is why God brought us together to be able to bring this to people. That you've got the website, connect to it, start connecting to people. I'll share your TED Talk. I can't wait to hear that. If I'm in town, I'd like to go and listen to it live. That would be to support you. Because I just think, even when people just watch this YouTube and they see your face, your beautiful face, your smile, just how lit up you are, like what a better place this planet will be if just more people put themselves out there, because there are more people like this. They just got to put themselves out there. And that's the blessing, is that you're putting yourself out there. You put the energy into a website. You're putting the energy into a TED Talk. And kudos to you for doing that. And thank you.
I so appreciate it. I appreciate you and the work you do and your podcast. Now I have a question for you.
Shoot.
So the way that we think about living is dead wrong. I would love to incorporate wake up humans. Wake up. Like how does that, how does the waking up translate to living?
Well, check this out. So, wake up humans was always live with passion, live clear. That was when I started my practice, one of my slogans was "Got life?" ? Which meant if you were subluxated, your neurology, your brain, body, spirit were not connected from above, down, inside out, you weren't living life to your fullest potential. You just couldn't, which is the question mark. And then when you start getting clear, you get clear from within, and your cells, organs, tissues can communicate, resonate at a higher level. Now you got life exclamation point. And now your spirit wakes up. That thing that you came into this world, that you were riveted in when you came into your mom's belly, which is your core soul, your inner light, your spirit that you keep referring to, it gets buried by life. It gets buried by experience. It gets buried by emotions and bad experiences and education that may not be right for us. It dims our light. Our light doesn't go out. That happens when we die. And I don't even think I think it just gets brighter when we die, because I believe we go to heaven. But so for people to wake up, and what I've seen in my experience is when people start coming in to see me and we start clearing out their atlas, it's like a light bulb goes off, like a light goes off inside of them, and they realize how powerful they are. They realize how submitted they've been for years and didn't understand why. And that's why I wrote the book, The Backpack, because now they wake up and they realize all these burdens, these earthly outside burdens they've been carrying in their proverbial backpack that's been slowing them down from progressing in life. Now they're able to see it, connect to it, and start healing. And they get lighter, and they start to flow through life, and they start to live clear, and they start to live with passion, right? Because now their nervous system's clear, their brain and body and spirit are connected. But now the third thing we've added this year is freedom. They're free. They're not relying on outside sources to make them happy. They're not looking from love in all the wrong places. They're looking for love within. They love themselves and their spirit. They get connected to their spirit and they wake up. And when humans wake up and get connected to their spirit, things like what you're doing happens. Magic happens. We become human beings having a spiritual experience, which is the most powerful thing that could happen in society.
Amen. That is amazing. That is just so, so great. I like what you talked about, the passion and the freedom. And through your work, I was able to connect with inspiration, where I was bogged down in my energy and lethargic. When I started coming to life, that inspiration kept on happening and coming up with new ideas and new solutions and more innovation. And it directly came out of your work. And it's just so phenomenal. I'm just so blown away that we've met.
And what does inspiration mean? To inspire from within, or to be in spirit. That's all inspiration is. So all you did was go within. You started getting deeper within because it was already there, right? It was just worldly life failures and struggles just to create these burdens. And then you wake up and you realize there's no such thing as failure. It just reignited a mission, which is your first love first. Like that would not have come to fruition if you hadn't gone through everything you went through in life. And if you were 2.5 seconds off of making the Olympics, and if my dream was to be a professional baseball player. My kids will always ask me, Dad, what if you made it? I tell them, you wouldn't be here. You 5 kids wouldn't be here. I would have taken a whole different walk. I probably wouldn't have met your mother. I'd be a whole different human being. But things happen for a reason. And at the time, it's hard to see that. You see it as a failure. You feel the pain, you feel the hurt, you feel the struggle. And then you wake up 5, 10, 15 years later and say, thank God that happened. It's like the old Garth Brooks song, thank God for unanswered prayers, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We don't see it until hindsight, when we have those heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
They're not failures, but they feel like it in the moment. And for your 5 children, I'm sure they're just so fortunate to have a great role model, a great teacher, a great friend, somebody that loves them unconditionally. It's wow.
Well, unconditional love is a big term.
It is. It's rare.
It's rare because, a lot of times people will love, or they'll call you their friend, as long as their outcome and their needs are fulfilled. The minute they feel like those aren't being fulfilled, they detach and go somewhere else. And they're just not servers, they're takers. And that's a hard lesson to learn, because I feel sometimes as people get more connected to love and spirit, and they just give more, people are attracted to that. But it also attracts people who just want to take. And that doesn't stop you from giving, but you also learn how to protect your space so you don't get burned. Right?
Yeah.
But unconditional love, I'm going to love them anyway. I'm going to love them anyway. I'm going to do my best not to be angry or be upset. But even though that still happens, you have to forgive yourself for feeling that way, and just love and let love take over. And then down the road, you just kind of heal and everything's okay. And you're blessed. Unconditional love.
Yeah. And the takers are usually the ones that are hurting the most.
Right.
And it is really important to have the boundaries. Like, I love people in their behaviors and know that they are hurting. And when they heal, if they choose to do that, they'll no longer be takers. And like you said earlier in this podcast about giving from our surplus, our abundance. And that's what I've learned is like, I have to keep my tank full, and it's only from that extra that I can give.
Right. And it's funny, you just said too, if people choose to heal. And I think that's step number one, is realizing we're human. We're not perfect. But, a famous football coach, Bobby Pruitt, once told me, exploit your strengths, manage your weaknesses. And I think if we could expose our weaknesses and see where we are weak, and it's okay to be weak, and manage that, but then work on your strengths so that you're happy utilizing what you love. Because usually what we're strong in is what we love to do. And instead of just trying to like always be perfect, which we never will be, but it's realizing that and saying, okay, where do I need to pour my energy? Where do I need to work? But it's a choice. And the choice starts with recognizing it, put it in writing, and now create action steps like you've done on your website. Because once it's in writing and you create action steps, and then you create accountability, 1, 2, 3, 4 people that know what you're shooting for, what your outcome is. If they love you, they're going to make sure you don't quit and you do it.
Yeah, that's really, really great. And what you touched on about being perfect, I was always trying to be perfect and always putting on a bright face and not allowing myself to be vulnerable and to ask for the help when I needed it. And I think that's a really important thing in our society, is to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to know that we don't have it all together. I don't know anybody who does. Everybody, we all have needs. And when we can be honest about it, and we can really let our guards down and let people in, that's an amazing place to live from versus being perfect. There is no perfect.
That's right. That's why Dr. Sid, one of my biggest mentor, he always said, if someone asks you how you doing, you say near perfect, near perfect. And then sometimes they would throw in working on divine, which I never liked that. That sounded corny, but near perfect. She says, I'm not perfect. I'm near perfect. I'll get there, when I die and I realize it's all over, like, okay, now this is perfection, but near perfect. So listen, I appreciate, I'm really glad that we connected on this. And it was one of those things that happened quickly in the office. You made a statement about the TED Talk, and boom. And I'm like, we got to get you on the podcast. And I didn't even know like really what I was getting into, but you are awesome. You are a powerful woman.
Thank you, Dr. Yeah, I really appreciate it, Dr. Steve. You're amazing. You inspire me every time I come into the office, and all the positive signs about expect the miracle, and just so many positive things that you say, and the books that you've written that I read that really give an amazing perspective and help so many people out and are very healing and huge insights, so much wisdom. So thank you for everything that you do in service for humanity.
It's my pleasure. It's our mission, and we will never stop. So let me finish up with this. Let's wrap it up here. So the day comes and it's time for you to cross over, time for you to make the ultimate journey. And you have the option before you leave to leave behind a billboard that is your message to the world. And anybody that sees that driving by says, this is what Meg Barbour stands for. What does that billboard say?
First love, love first. I want to show you, I have a little printout. Can you see that?
First love, love first, with the infinity symbol and the hearts. That is like awesome. You know what I love about that logo? My wife's going to love this because we always said our love is infinite for each other. It's nonstop. So the infinity symbol is one of our things, right? And that,
Lovely.
like, I don't know if I want her to get a tattoo, but I have a bunch of them. But that would be a really cool tattoo.
Oh, nice. I hadn't thought about that, but I'll do it. It'll be my second tattoo.
All right, people. First love, love first. And if you end that with .com, you could get attached to Meg and Meg's whole mission and what she's doing. And then her TED Talk, Say Prayers, is April 9th, correct?
Yes, and the prayers are definitely wanted, and I am so grateful.
Amen, girl. We love and appreciate you, and keep up the great work and keep smiling. And you are a miracle. We love you.
Thank you, Dr. Steve. You're a miracle in my life.
Amen.